ask Whitney if you will do the pledge and the pledge and the prayer.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for your blessings that you've bestowed on the city. We ask you to give us your wisdom, your discernment as we make decisions for the city of Boonville. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Roll call.
Albert. Venable.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Bechtel. Thompson. Here. Melkersman.
Here.
Coward.
Here.
Harville.
Here.
The good news is it looks like we have a quorum. So we'll proceed forward then on hearing of citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on anything that's not covered in the agenda, or anybody who wants to speak? If not, I think we have a presentation by the school resource officers for the council. That will, while it's under public comments, it'll be treated a little bit differently. So normally if you're under public comments, you'd have 5 minutes to talk, and there's really no interchange between the council and the people that are making the comments. Give them their full 5 minutes. When it's a presentation, that can be more of an interchange. So if council members have a question, they can ask questions of the people making the presentation, and they're not set to a time limit. Although, we'd ask you to be as brief as possible. Thank you.
We promise to keep it shorter than 5 minutes. So, I think everybody here knows me, but my name's Tyler Schonsmeyer. I'm a school resource officer assigned to Boonville High School, Hannacle Primary, and I'm also responsible for the B-Tech. So, 3 years now into school resource officer program. I think it's been a tremendous success. I believe Brad would agree. First time that the city of Boonville, or I should say the Boonville School Districts, has had a school resource officer program, so is building it up from the ground. A lot of learning from other districts that had already implemented it. Again, I think it's been a tremendous success, being able to build relationships with the kids. I know for a fact I can speak in the high school, where kids are a little older and have a little bit more of an opinion to themselves. I really feel like I've changed a lot of people's opinions on law enforcement, showing them that we are people, just like they are, making it easier for them to relate to us. I coach football at the high school, coach multiple youth sports. I know Brad also coaches wrestling at the middle school. Getting to see us in that context and not just in our uniform doing our job, I think that helps them relate to us. And again, building relationships has been a big part of why I think the program has been successful. Some of you all have already seen these statistics, but I wanted to go over a few things. So the 2022-2023 school year was the last school year before the SRO program was implemented in the Boonville School Districts. Now, I should say that these statistics are just for the high school, where I pulled these numbers. So the last year before there was an SRO in the high school, there was a total of 1,287 total events. Of those events recorded, 29 were classified as fighting, assaults, threats towards school, staff, or students. First year of the SRO program, that number dropped to 1,034, of which that was a 253 event decrease from the year before. Year two of our program, that number dropped to 543. It's a decrease from 491 events from the prior year and a total drop of 744 events. When I pulled this data, I believe approximately about a month ago, would that sound right? When I pulled it at that point for the 2025-2026 school year, we were at 380 total events. So that number continues to drop. I believe that's indicative of the program's success. I'm very proud of the work that we've done at the high school and at Hannacle and the B-Tech. I wanted to share those statistics with you. I know Brad has been working very hard on implementing the Rad Kids program, so I'm going to let him talk to you a little bit about that.
My name is Brad Simmons. I'm a school resource officer at David Barton Elementary and Laura Speed Elliott. I have a little bit different of a scenario than Tyler because he has Hannacle in high school, major age gap. I get kids from 3rd grade and I keep them all the way to 8th grade basically. So they get to see me for a very long period of time and I get to see them. So it works well over the years, building trust and relationships. We end up having a lot of behavior type situations because kids these days can be kind of undiagnosed with maybe some behavioral or mental health issues at very young ages because doctors don't want to intervene, but that can help make contact and help me build relationships with some of those children to help build some coping mechanisms to where I can help them, or if they need time, I can help them learn to kind of de-escalate themselves and things like that. And then as the years continue, I can help them be more sustainable in classrooms, maybe even look at extracurricular sports and things like that. I know that there was a kid that I helped over a couple of years it took for him to be able to control his own behaviors, and then he attempted wrestling for me one season, and that went successful to where we hoped. You know, maybe not overachiever as a wrestler, but from where we started to where we got to with him, like it really helped him learn some good skills that were helped set him up for success in his own. So for the Rad Kids program, the Boonville Police Department and the Boonslick CIT Council, we've kind of partnered, and we're bringing Rad Kids to Boonville, Cooper County area. It's a program that law enforcement help teach in the schools that help kids. It's similar to DARE, but it's not just oriented towards drugs. It's oriented towards bullying, addiction, domestic abuse, to not only recognize those things in their settings, but also not be a victim. So we're teaching them not to be a victim of abduction. If we see a stranger and a stranger's wanting us to go with them, teaches us to recognize them, push away, go find somebody, and that it's okay to tell somebody that we trust. It also goes through a lot of behavior building keys as far as setting positive barriers, even with your positive relationships with your friends. And in the Boonville School District, we're going to attempt to implement it at like 2nd grade and 4th grade. That way kids are not only getting introduced to it, that by the second time they go through it, that hopefully they can really start working on like the bullying behaviors of don't be a bully, don't allow bullying behavior, and if that does happen, that I can tell somebody I trust. And that way we can continue to teach the children to protect themselves. Because there's a lot of kids these days, you're not born to have a protective instinct over yourself, and some families weren't ever taught those skills either, and maybe when they have a child, they're not able to help pass on protective traits so that kids can be vulnerable, because we're vulnerable when we're born. So we're hoping getting this program installed in some school districts locally will help teach kids to kind of stand up for themselves, build some self-confidence, and also recognize and not tolerate those type of behaviors. So we're hoping to build better citizens in the community, basically, raise the standard around here. So we have all the county schools, city schools, Catholic school, New Franklin, Fayette, Randolph County. We have about 16 to 20 officers, school counselors, teachers that are all going to get trained here in June so we can implement it next school year. I sent a PowerPoint to Kate that she can send out to you guys with kind of more information about that. And then the Boonslick YMCA, we're going to do kind of a summer program where we can go over that in like a 5-day span with kids that maybe aren't in the school district that teach it, but they can still elect to come. So that's kind of what I got.
What questions do you guys have for us about the program? Whether it be Rad Kids or just the SRO program in general?
You answered mine. You do the Catholic school, correct, as
Yeah.
well, to St. Peter and Paul?
Brad's done a great job of stopping by there because it's right in between both of his schools,
Awesome.
Yeah.
and he's been a pretty good presence there.
Yeah, so coming up the next school year, I'll be the head middle school wrestling coach, and Tyler's my assistant. We have a lot of kids in LSC, David Barton, and the Catholic school that have wrestled for us or will wrestle for us. So we just happen to know a lot of kids in those kind of age groups too. So
Yeah, just a comment. So they briefly touched on this, but the value they bring as a de facto counselor, can I
That is
use
part of
that?
the job, yeah.
Can I use that? The value they've brought into the school as a informal counselor has really been life-changing for a lot of kids. And these guys know it better than anyone, but sometimes just that one little touch point can divert a child from a bad path to a better path. And these guys do that. It's a fantastic program. So shout out to both the officers.
Appreciate
And
that. Thank you.
it's a really, really great thing.
So have you seen any, as far as, I'm not sure if any officers have commented, as far as the fact that you all are at the school system, how the children interact around other police officers? Do you see any change in that behavior? Have you
I've personally seen it firsthand. So I was around the football players specifically before there was an SRO program. And the way they interacted with me then and the way they interact with me now is completely different.
Okay.
Right? And I've seen, and I'm sure Brad can attest to this too, it's much easier for them to approach us whether they're having a problem, something's going wrong, they need advice, like you touched on, kind of being somebody to talk to. Really just night and day difference. And I'm not sure you can really see that in statistics unless you just see it on a daily basis. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like even being at the park in the summertime, other officers will tell us that, oh, hey, I saw such and such kid. They asked if Tyler was there or if I was there because they wanted to see if we were around or they wanted to get a sticker from us or something like that, you know, things like that. So it definitely has. And then, like we invite the other officers sometimes to come help with lunch at David Barton, read to the kids, different things like that. And it's really helped to incorporate kind of the whole department, I feel like, so.
That's good.
One question, kind of going back a little bit, you're talking about the number of incidences as an indicator for your effectiveness. I'm curious if there are indicators for the RAD program that you're anticipating measuring outside of just number of incidences. Because I want to know how, how it's working.
No, I totally understand. I don't know how to measure that in data. I mean, I'm sure we'll be able to, and we'll just have to figure out a way to try to measure that. I know that since I've been there, my thought going into being an SRO and, 3rd through 8th grade was totally different than what it ended up being. I never thought that I would be such a resource for kids that were victims versus kids that I thought, of a positive side and just needed a little bit more help. I never thought about being the safe place or the protector for some of the kids that were victims, and to realize how big of a group that amount of kids was wild to me, and it still kind of is. But to be able to deal with those kids that deal with negative situations, I think I'll be able to help give some feedback, because once we start going through the program and different things, even the kids that I see now that I'll see in 3rd grade that are very sheltered and not confident, and hopefully this program and just us being there in general could kind of help build some self-confidence and build some basic life skills to help, in other social settings and different things like that, and just building positive barriers with their own friends groups, and not allowing negative behavior and type stuff like that. So something we'll have to look into for sure.
Do you think long-term it worked well with the two officers splitting the schools, or do you think there's room for growth of one at each school?
I mean, I would always say there's room for growth and room for improvement. I do think that me and Brad do a good job of splitting it. Just the layout of the town, it makes a lot of sense, the way that it is for me to be responsible for the buildings that I have. And they're basically all connected, and his aren't too far apart.
Yeah.
Very rarely do we have to leave and assist the other person. It's happened, but on a very rare occasion. So I think the system that we have now works well.
Yeah, I think so. I think it would be maybe based on population, but I don't think our schools will ever get overpopulated.
That's a good point. So we go to trainings and we speak with other SROs. One comes to mind in St. Joseph, which is a very, very large town. I think he was responsible for 12 schools by himself, and it's almost counterproductive.
Yeah.
At that point, you can't be in any one place too long. You can't build a relationship with anybody. You're just running from building to building.
Yeah. And just one other quick question. So you guys are obviously police officers,
Right.
city employees, right? And can you explain, if you needed help or something, how easy is it to communicate with Randy and the rest of the
Oh, it's
police?
terrible.
Not with these new radios, it better not. But
No,
I mean,
it's-
can
yeah.
you just talk about,
Waiting on the Wi-Fi.
you're embedded in the schools, but talk about how you interact with Randy and company when needed.
When we first started the program, Randy checked in on me. I was only SRO for the first 6 months before they started a second position for Brad. So Randy did a great job of just checking in on me, making sure I needed everything that I had. Honestly, we're pretty self-sufficient out there. just kind of on our own little island, but anytime I've ever needed anything, I just reach out, and not just him, but anybody that works at the police department. They're always willing to come out and help with other extra events or activities, kind of like what Brad brought up earlier, but it's a good working relationship. We're all technically under the police department, but we're so separated too, because we're never there.
Yeah, I'd say we're kind of spoiled by the school district also. We didn't get stuck in a broom closet. We both got pretty nice offices. So officers don't mind coming to check in on us and hang out for a little bit. Or, you know, with the radios you bring up, we're working on we're getting out the bugs where I do have a little bit of trouble getting reception in my schools and things, but that's going to get hashed out soon. But anytime there's anything, if a child was to take off from school property, road guys would be right there to help us take care of it, no problem. So.
Yeah, so I just want to give you guys kudos because the way I measure it is we usually get feedback, and usually when we get feedback, it's not good feedback. and the only feedback that I've got on the SRO program from the community is positive feedback.
Okay, thank you.
From the ground up to now, you guys have done a great job.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, go
I
ahead.
was just a couple clarifying question for you guys. So they are city employees. The school does reimburse us. It's like about 9 months is kind of what we figure. And then so in the summer, you're pretty much doing your training, getting your hours in. So you kind of end up, and then they take a vacation maybe in there. So use up some
Hopefully.
of their time off.
Yeah.
And so, so we are reimbursed under a contract. So it's not, they're sharing the expenses with us since they're primarily at the school. And I would just add that if you read the agreement, because we wrote the agreement before we knew if we would play well in the sandbox. And there's a lot of things in there, including, I think, like quarterly meetings.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
We've talked
That lasted for about a quarter.
I was going to say, I think like I'll occasionally be like, or Randy or I will be like, do we need to get together? I was like, no. So we're like, okay. So it has worked out really well.
It just has been very smooth transition into starting the program. So hopefully it stays that way. I know I've really enjoyed it. I'm sure Brad has.
Oh, yeah, it's been great.
Was that
Any
under
other
5 minutes? Close?
No,
It wasn't, but it's our fault.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'll take that.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the April 14th council minutes. Are any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Under consent items, consider change order number 4 for $0.00 to CL Richardson Construction for waste and sewer improvements 2025.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, we approve the above consent item.
Okay.
I'll second.
Do we have a motion and a second discussion? Roll call.
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Melkersman,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Presentation of accounts and claims appropriations.
Ordinance appropriating money. Be it ordained by the council of the city of Boonville as follows. For the purpose of paying salaries on various accounts against the city of Boonville, which have been allowed by the council at the regular meeting thereof on April 20th, 2026, the sum of $1,876,094.96. General fund, $189,690.27. Sanitation, $12,191.78. CIP tax, $250,942.99. Waterworks, $145,876.65. Capital projects, $500,000. Wastewater, $123,512.71. Tourism, $8,977.33. Gaming, $640,552.59. Parks and Water, $4,350.64. Kemper sales tax, $0.00. Section 2, the accountant is hereby authorized and instructed to draw checks on the respective city bank accounts in favor of the persons whose salaries and accounts have been allowed as above, amounting to $1,876,094.96, being the total amount of money above appropriated. This ordinance shall take effect and be enforced from and after its passage. First reading on 4/20/2026. Read for the second time this 4/20/2026, since a copy was made available prior to the meeting.
Second reading, title only.
Ordinance appropriating money.
Mayor, I move that we approve this ordinance appropriated money.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Okay, just a quick clarifying thing. So I know this is high, which is fine, explained in your memo. On the roundabout, which was $1 million, how did we separate that? So the vehicles are coming out of gaming, which is normal. Where did the roundabout,
A little bit of everywhere.
how'd you divvy that up? Because I'm curious.
So the CIP sales tax had a portion in there, about the 200,000. And then, gaming had a 640, and that 500,000 that's in the CIP, not all of that 640, and then the CIP, that 500,000, so that's the reimbursement we'll get from CDBG when we get it.
Oh, right.
So the way the cost share works is, it's like buying a house. We have to like put all the money in escrow. So we had to put our whole $1.1 million, and then MoDOT manages the entire project. So we'll get reimbursed, but CDBG won't reimburse us. They'll reimburse us on pay apps. So eventually we'll fill that hole.
Okay.
So
And
what
we did
percentage
pull
was it?
some from reserves. I mean, that was the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was the percentage payback on that?
It was a 50-50 match with MoDOT.
50/50. Okay.
And the roundabout's about 2.2 million. So 1.1 million is our portion. $500,000 we'll get back from CDBG.
Yeah, I mistold somebody. Somebody asked me about it this weekend, and I was like, I think it's like 75%, but I'm gonna have to call them.
It's a 50-50 match, but we leverage their 50% with the CDBG. So, we're in for about 600.
Okay. All right.
So you could be there.
Yeah, no, I'll call them anyways.
Any other questions? Roll call?
Venable,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Melkersman,
Yes.
Coward,
Yes.
Harville.
Yes.
Unfinished business, I believe we have none. New business is Heritage Days.
I think we have you guys have the festival and event permit. We switched to this festival and event permit a couple years ago in an attempt to try to get everything on one page so that we made sure people who needed to bring picnic tables or garbage cans or whatever knew where things were going. We also changed up the way we did street closures. So we used to have a signature form if anyone is part of an event, but now we do door hangers because it's hard to find people or they don't answer their doors. So the way this works, typically they're going to come, tell you about their event, and then talk about the street closures. Heritage Days always gets a little longer conversation because it's bigger, involves more streets, longer time. And then they will go back and then they'll get all the door hangers and they'll put them out, and then at the next council meeting, you'll approve the street closures. I'll pass it over to you guys.
We got our dates?
Yeah, so the dates of Heritage Days are the 26th and the 27th of June. Street closures are going to be from Spring and Chestnut Street from 4th to 6th, and then Morgan to Vine, or 4th Street from Morgan to Vine. I mean, the events I think are the same as last year, correct? Yeah, I don't.
If council has any questions.
Any questions?
Thanks for organizing. I know it's a lot of work, and it's always a good time, so appreciate your work.
It's the same exact street closures as last year, right?
Yes. I think Spring Street is going a little farther onto 3rd Street for a little extra for the car show, but that's it.
Okay.
And then the parade route's all the same as it was last year as well.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we're at reports of standing committees. Whitney, do you have anything on police board?
It was canceled due to lack of agenda items.
Well, then that makes a short report.
Yeah, it's in the middle,
Yeah.
in the packet.
And street, alley, and sanitation board, Andrew?
Yeah, so a meeting, there was a brief meeting, but it was then rescheduled to the following Tuesday. There are a few notes in your packet regarding some parking issues and things like that, but this will be tabled until the next meeting, which is coming up shortly. So I believe on Wednesday, the 22nd, will be when the reschedule was.
Okay. To reports of city officials, I don't believe I have anything as mayor, so do you have anything as city administrator?
I don't think I have anything else. Again, I think, the fire station progress is underway, so I was gonna go ahead and have Tim's been in closer contact, give a quick update. Again, for council people that weren't there, we're remediating some mold, and there was some wild cards going on, but I think we seem to have more positive news, so a little sigh of relief.
So yeah, they started removing the HVAC, the ductwork, everything that's involved with the HVAC. And it appears that the majority of our mold problem is limited to the HVAC. We do have some surface mold in some of the ceilings, a few lower areas. They've removed ceilings in 2 of the bedrooms, part of the kitchen, and one of our storage areas that had some pretty good mold growth. But it's looking better. It doesn't sound like it's going to be as extensive as what we thought, so that makes me breathe a little better. Hopefully we can get back in our building pretty soon. But yeah, looking good. Any other questions?
Have you guys relocated to the temporary location?
Yeah.
How's that working out?
Yeah, we've been there a week and a half. Yeah, it's working out well. Haven't run into any issues. We've got guys that are sleeping in the parts department. So, but yeah, we've got 2 beds in the parks department, and then, there was a number of offices there. So, we've turned those into a couple bedrooms, and one of them I snagged for an office. But, yeah, so far haven't had any issues as far as responding to incidents or anything like that. So
Excellent.
it's been good. It's better than a camper or a construction trailer. So
Great.
yeah.
Thanks, Chief.
And then, I guess I did also want to just mention the next council meeting is on May 4th. There are several of us that have obligations on that Monday. Myself and Teresa are going to be at the Senior Scholarship Awards Night, and Brad's going to be there. And Andrew and Brad are playing each other in baseball, I think, too. So, I guess I kind of didn't want to, I felt like maybe there wasn't enough people quite to make the meeting, so there's a couple of recommendations. I think if we moved it to 5, if that were feasible. I don't foresee the agenda to be extensive, that we could probably get it done and then everybody could move on. Or we can move it to a Tuesday, or we can cancel it. I don't see anything pressing, but usually what happens for people, if we do cancel it, then you'll get double the appropriations at the next meeting. So I'll let you guys decide what you would rather do.
Either will work for me.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm open too.
I'm flexible.
Okay. Can you,
What time do we play, Jeff?
No, I got a new text today that one of my other ones is moving, so I think that we had initially, I think that they had rescheduled you and I for 8.
Yeah.
The awards night starts at 6. If we have an agenda that's not very long, I don't see any reason
Start at
that
5.
those that need to attend awards night couldn't be out of here in time to make that, and then you and I can change into jerseys later.
You gotta love small town city council where the baseball coaches and the high school awards night and everything is coinciding. I will say that I'll be flexible too. If we
Okay.
need to do 5, we'll make it work.
okay, let's plan for 5 o'clock then on this one meeting, and I think I don't see anything on the agenda now, so barring anything crazy. That's all I have.
Yep. Do you want to report anything for the city clerk?
I don't think I have anything on her behalf.
All right. City councilor?
I'll be brief, just so we can keep this council, or this meeting moving. A lot of the legal things that I've been working on are kind of pushed to the side, with the priority being the roundabout, securing temporary construction easements. Been in regular communication with the people that are affected by the construction easements. It's primarily the intersection or the roadway between Casey's and Taco Bell. Then you have Casey's and Taco Bell. Good news is McDonald's was initially we were going to need a temporary construction easement in front of McDonald's. Kate and I and Jeff met with representatives from McDonald's last week, and they have agreed what they were going to do. Instead of offering up the temporary construction easement, they're actually going to extend their work when they do their rebuild and they are going to build for us or extend their sidewalk and ADA ramp and curb. They're gonna include what was in our temporary construction easement as part of their work when they do their rebuild, which makes us happy on the legal end, makes MoDOT happy because now we don't have to secure that and supply that to the city. So that was good news, and really nice of McDonald's to work with us trying to get that project done.
They've been a good partner in this whole thing, which is really nice.
It was fortuitous that they were
Yes.
building at the same time.
Yeah.
That's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have anything under miscellaneous?
I do, Mayor. Last weekend, I went out to Maple Street, and I know there's an interesting email that went out, but I wanted to go look at it. 1,200, right around 1,220 something Maple. Obviously, there is no curbs there, and there is definitely a water flooding and setting in the street problem. And it does go directly into somebody's garage. So we talked last weekend. Barry and I went over. We were just looking because he stopped by. And I'm telling you, I don't think curbs would actually fix the problem that's going on with that street. I don't know what's going to fix that street. So I don't know if there's some way we can get Miko to look at it, or I don't know, somebody else that knows something better than I do. But if you go to Maple, it dips in the very center. So if you look up and down the street, it's a U. And at the very middle of that is somebody's garage below ground level. And it literally just takes all of the water from the street down into his garage. And I don't physically know what can be done to correct this issue. Obviously, we've got some people complaining in my ward over this issue. But I don't think that fixing curbs is a simple solution. I don't think the curbs would actually fix anything, to be honest. So I'm just asking if there's any way we can have somebody look at it and see if there's a solution that can be done. I don't know. The only thing I was thinking was maybe somehow get some kind of storm drain there, but to build it, there's nowhere to take the water.
Is this a new issue? That's what, like, to me, it doesn't sound like it's a street issue. It sounds like it's a house elevation when they built it issue.
It's a house settling issue, and on top of that, the garage settled so far down below the street, and it happens to be in the very center of the low point of a street. And I'm telling you, the water just goes directly into his garage.
And Si, if I can interject just for a second, because that round of emails, and I think one of the most recent ones was forwarded to multiple council people. Mm-hmm. Those emails have now been forwarded to me in my department. Mm-hmm. So I was gonna review those and respond to the individual. Mm-hmm. One of the concerns was, it basically became a sunshine law request for documentation or anything else that we had in the city, but trying to uncover some of that information is gonna predate any digital records. And so from the legal department, we're well aware of it now, and I think you bring up a good point, but I don't know that there is going to be a quick fix to solve the problem between the city's position and, as Whitney had touched on, is where the responsibility lies permanently and how would we go about resolving the matter.
I mean, just fixing the curbs is not going to fix that. And what the problem is, if it was just curbs, $10,000, $15,000 to fix the 250 feet of curbing, but even if you put the curbs there, the water's just going to go over the curb. It is that kind of low. The whole entire side of that street is just sunk down. I'm not sure what a good fix would be for that. So, I know there's sunshine laws about, how far back we would warranty, but I don't think there's a good fix. I don't think it's just curbs, but
I agree.
Anyways, I wanted to bring that to light.
And that's why I spoke up, because I need to look at where we are with what requests have been made and what we could produce. Mm-hmm. But I think it's going to be a much longer process than hey, let's go do this. I think it's gonna be a conversation with Jeff in Public Works, is there anything that could solve it, and if so, how do we go about it? But I wanted to speak before the council, let you know that I've now received the emails, I'm looking at them, I'm gonna respond to the individual, so that he knows that we are at least looking at it.
Okay. That's all I wanted to bring up, and I appreciate you guys' time. I really, looking at it, and I do a lot in construction, with my job, and just looking at it in the way everything has to drain, there's no quick solution for that, so.
Anything else under miscellaneous? Okay. I think I'd be open for a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
Not everyone.
First and second ones.